In the 2020 United States presidential election, President-elect Joe Biden often positioned himself as a champion for workers around the country and promised to rebuild the American middle class if he was elected. According to The Hill on January 18, 2021, President-elect Joe Biden received multiple amounts of praise from progressives when he promised to attach a $15 federal minimum wage to his first economic recovery plan from the COVID-19 pandemic. However, with the Senate being more partisan and closer than ever, today we must ask ourselves the question: does Biden's plan of raising the minimum wage to $15 per hour in the first COVID relief plan have a chance of passing the Senate? And the clear answer is no, for three key reasons. First, because of how Senate procedure already burdens the plan. Second, we'll take a look at a pesky senator from West Virginia. And lastly, how too many senators have pro-business special interests tied back to them. First though, we have to take a look at an institutionalized reason why Joe Biden's plan to raise the minimum wage likely won't happen. And that's because of how the Senate was formed. When the Senate was formed, it was designed to be a cooling pot for hot legislation coming from the House of Representatives. But that very fact might actually hurt Biden's plan of ever passing his plan for a minimum wage. And that is because a Senate filibuster rule. According to the Brookings Institute on September 9, 2020, the most important thing we need to know about Senate procedure is the Senate cloture rule. Any senator can block or filibuster any piece of legislation, and the only way to stop it is to get 60 votes to stop the filibuster. Already, Joe Biden only has a 50-50 majority with Democrats in the Senate, so the chance of them picking up another 10 votes is increasingly slim. The only other way to end a filibuster is to get rid of it completely. And Democrats did this in 2015, when Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid completely ended the filibuster on judicial nominees. However, the chances of Democrats completely eliminating the filibuster for all legislation are more and more slim. And that comes from a few in their own party. According to the Washington Post on July 31st, 2020, moderate Senate Democrats such as Senator Jon Tester and Senator Joe Manchin have often showed an unwillingness to repeal the filibuster, saying that it is essential for the Senate to survive. The Senate Democrats will likely never get 60 votes to end a filibuster, and there's very little chance of them completely ending it. So the chances of Biden's plan eventually being enacted are increasingly more slim. Speaking of Joe Manchin, we need to look at his new role for President-elect Joe Biden. Joe Manchin is now the most important Democratic voice in the country and will likely be a big thorn in Biden's side. Don't be confused. Joe Manchin is a Democrat, but most of his views are as conservative as several Senate Republicans, and that will be a big problem because he's so important right now. According to the New York Times on January 11th, 2021, Joe Manchin is the final vote that Democrats need in order to break a tie. Because it's a 50-50 race, Democratic Vice President Kamala Harris can break a tie in favor of the Democrats. But in order to do that, they need to get Senator Joe Manchin on board. And it looks more and more likely that they will not be able to do this for the minimum wage issue. According to Bloomberg on January 15th, 2021, while Joe Manchin voted to raise the federal minimum wage to $10.10 a few years back, when the issue was brought up in 2017 to raise the federal minimum wage to $15 per hour, he voted against it. And he has increasingly said that he will not support this effort. Even if Senate Democrats get past the filibuster and enact cloture, their chances of actually getting Joe Manchin on board are not looking too hot right now, meaning that Joe Biden's plan to raise the minimum wage likely will not happen. And lastly, we have to look at a sad truth. Many senators are bots and their votes are already decided for. As we all know, no matter your party, many senators have special interests that already decide their votes tied back to them. And a major lobby for that is the pro-business lobby. According to The Economist on January 16th, 2021, while most modern-day economists are coming to the conclusion that a federal minimum wage can actually incentivize the economy if done right, Many pro-business councils, such as the Chamber of Commerce, are increasingly saying that this would destroy the economy. And while they're allowed to say that, the problem is they give millions to candidates. According to Politico on December 22nd, 2020, big corporations that have pro-business lobbies are giving out hundreds of thousands of dollars to candidates that will vote against a minimum wage. For example, we can take a look at McDonald's. McDonald's, throughout their history, has increasingly voted for candidates and gave money to them if they did not support a federal minimum wage increase. That is because McDonald's have to start paying their workers even more and lose some net profit. While it is sad, it is a clear fact that many senators have pro-business roots tied to them. So even if Democrats can get Joe Manchin on board and end the filibuster, their chance of actually getting past the pro-business lobby are more and more slim by the day. When looking back at today's question, does Biden's plan of raising the minimum wage to $15 per hour in the first COVID relief bill have a chance of passing the Senate? The answer is no, for three key reasons. First, because Senate procedure already discourages the attempt, as Democrats will likely get filibustered on the issue. Second, Joe Manchin is too crucial of a vote, and he does not support this amendment. And lastly, because many senators have pro-business roots tying back to them, they'll make them vote against the minimum wage. While Joe Biden did receive praise from progressives, it's important to realize that in politics, there is a huge difference between saying something and actually doing this. And while it is a noble gesture that Joe Biden is trying to be a champion of the workers and help increase their wage, his plan will likely never ever come to fruition.